What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on Ranger Central, and we did it. Glen Sather has finally retired. Before we jump in everything, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you do enjoy. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live. We're going to talk about a couple different things here today. We're going to talk about the Glen Sather retirement, more free agent rumors, which, by the way, free agent special stream happening on July 1st. I think I did 7 hours last year. We're going to try and do stuff like that again. We're here, you know how we get down at Ranger Central, and in 2 days is the draft stream. You guys can see me react live to the draft. If there's trades that happen, if there's other stuff that happens, who knows? We're right in the thick of the offseason, despite, the cup ending just a couple days ago, which I guess congratulations to the Panthers, which I won't lie, I'm still a little salty about it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, the players deserved it. It is what it is. And yeah, we're going to just talk about all that stuff because there's many rumors that have been thrown in there. We're here to break down everything, whether it's the littlest rumor, whether it's the biggest rumor imaginable. We're here to cover it on Ranger Central, being the #1 strictly Rangers channel, I at least think, on the platform here. But regardless, we cover everything here. So for all we know, this is a double upload today, but we're going to get right into it. Glen Sather retired, and all I could say is hallelujah. And I know that people might say, how dare you talk about that? And listen, congratulations to him on a Hall of Fame career, and I'm not going to take anything away from what he did in the 80s with the Edmonton Oilers. The problem is that was in the 80s with the Edmonton Oilers, and with here, it has been up and down, honestly. Like, obviously, we know I wasn't around for the Dark Ages, but there's the Dark Ages. And then on top of that, I started watching towards the end of his tenure in terms of him having the title of general manager, of course. And, it just has been up and down. And it just feels he's still been too involved, despite, I don't know what title they gave him, whether it was president, an advisor role, overseeing operations, whatever it might have been. It's just gone on for way too long, and it just feels like he's too in the ears of management in today's group. And even when Gordon was involved, there are just moves that reeked of him, whether it was the Jacob Trouba type of deal where they overpaid for him. For Drury's first offseason, that reeked of a lot of Sather, whether it was overpaying for Patrick Nemeth, overpaying for Goudreau, getting virtually nothing but Sammy Blais, a fourth-line plug for a guy like Pavel Buchnevich, and then Ryan Reeves, of course, giving up a third for him and then extending him to a matching deal. There are just certain things that just reeked of Glen Sather still, and it was just, it's gone on for way too long that, listen, I'm not going to discredit what he did, like I said, and congratulations to him on a long career as well. But the Rangers, for their betterment of the organization, for today's NHL, they don't need a guy like Glen Sather involved the way that he's been involved. And now that Darth Sather is gone, Chris Drury completely runs the show, and now it is strictly judging him based on what he does. So anything that happens, it is strictly Chris Drury at the helm and strictly being judged on what Chris Drury does. Obviously, there's scouts involved and stuff like that, so I'm not going to completely say it's just him because it is a collaborative effort. But, for the most part, he gets the final say, he calls the final shots, and it should be strictly judged mostly, I should say, on a guy like Chris Drury, where you can't say, well, maybe Glen Sather's still in the ear there. No, this is the Chris Drury show, and we will see what he ends up doing. And again, up and down tenure for him, and it is what it is. Like, I don't know. I've again, congratulations to him, but it is what it is. I think that this is a good thing that he's distant from the organization fully now, and we don't have to worry about him being involved in anything. So that is that front. In terms of the other news that we're going to talk about, because there's a lot that went down, there was a insider. I forgot who it was, but apparently the New York Rangers are connected to Joel Farabee, and I am not entirely for it, and I am nor entirely against it. What I've heard is that there are nights that he takes off, and that's the biggest knock on a guy like Joel Farabee. And if that's the case, well, I feel we already have enough of that here, so please no. But there is no denying on top of that there is some talent there, and there is the fact that, he did contribute for, I think, 50 points this year, and he was actually really good at even strength, like 40 points or something, or might have been high 30s, which would have put him towards the top of the team in even strength points. And Philadelphia's power play was atrocious, so there is no reason to believe that, he comes here and maybe he could be like a 70-point guy. The problem is, though, that the taking nights off thing. And do you want him as your top line right winger? I'm not entirely sure I am for that. And I don't know. I think that would cost probably a Kakko and a first. And I would just rather use that ammo to trade up in the draft, or use that ammo to get a different player to be part of a bigger package, I should say, for what could be a bigger deal. So I'm not entirely for it, but I'm not entirely against it. Just a little thing that was dropped into the news basket recently. I'm not going to do a full video because I don't know how much substance there is with this insider. It is someone that is close to the Philadelphia Flyers organization. So again, it could be something, it could be nothing. I don't know how much substance it has, but all I know is that, again, it is a little something that is dropped in the news, so I thought I'd mention it. And the last bit of news that we have that I'm going to talk about, it looks like, according to every big insider thus far, that Jake Guentzel is the Rangers' top target. And someone made a good point on Twitter. I don't remember who it was, but again, I'm really bad at this. I probably should have got this pulled up. But he was basically saying that it does feel like a couple off seasons ago, if you remember, it seemed like Nazem Kadri was the top guy the Rangers wanted, and then they ended up landing Vinny Trocheck. Could this be a similar scenario where Guentzel maybe prices himself out and then they end up landing, say, a Patrick Kane? Because I believe personally, I'm not close to the organization. I don't have sources. I don't have anything. This is purely gut feeling right now. I feel personally, though, it is going to be either Jake Guentzel or Patrick Kane, or maybe even both. I don't know. I think that, hinges on if Jacob Trouba's gone, if Kaapo Kakko's contract gets moved, if Phil Hedl gets moved, because I've been very vocal this offseason, whether it's here and on Twitter. My thing and saying has been cut dead weight. That has been my thing here, and I believe there's so much dead weight to cut from this roster still that you could really open up the cap and make this team so deep for next season. And if you add both Guentzel and Kane and put those two on the first line, slide Kreider down the third line, break up Mika and Kreider, like, could you imagine that? Like, I don't know. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but the rumor with Guentzel lately is that he might take less than we think. Like, the rumor is that he might be taking more in the 8 million ballpark. And if that's the case, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. If the Rangers could get him in the 8.5 million ballpark, I mean, what are we talking about here? If you think that that would be a bad decision and a dumb idea, I'm sorry, I can't get behind that. Like, how could you argue against bringing in a premier elite talent who produces in the playoffs every single postseason at that cap hit? Like, that to me is just a no-brainer, slam dunk type move if they could do it. Does Jake Guentzel want the Rangers though? I don't know. But all I know is that the Rangers at the very least have to make a push. And we have to remember this. Someone brought this point up too to me on Twitter, and it is 1,000% something that gets lost in the sauce. The Rangers could overpay on July 1st. They could be above the cap on July 1st. What matters is they're cap compliant come whenever opening night is, whether it's October 12th, October, whatever it is in October, whenever it is. That's when they have to be cap compliant. As long as they are by then, it does not matter. They could overspend in free agency, but the problem is you have to have a plan to get under the cap, whether it is doing an LTIR cheap move there, or whether it is having a trade in place. And you might say, well, then you're running the risk, because what if a team doesn't want to trade with you to help you out? I disagree there. My reasoning why is we see every single offseason teams spend over the cap, and then other teams help them get below, the cap ceiling there. It's just what happens. It's the NHL. GMs, it's a brotherhood. They help each other out all the time. It is what it is. And that's my opinion on that. So if it does take $8.5 million to get a guy like Guentzel, go do it. Like, why not? If you are serious about winning, that's the type of move you make. Like, are you as serious about winning as you think if you pass up the opportunity to get an elite winger at 8.5, especially in today's NHL with the way today's cap is? And you have to remember too, we are looking at percentages these days. We are not looking at, you can't look at cap hits. And Mika Zibanejad, his cap percentage right now, he's at 8.5, 9.7. An elite winger at 9.7% of your cap, plus the cap's going up next year. I mean, come on. I don't know. To me, it makes too much sense to not do it, but remains to be seen. Remains to be seen if they do it. Again, the ball might be in Guentzel's court if he wants to even come here. So it could be out of the Rangers' control. All I know is that their pivot is probably Kane based on everything that I've read up on so far and everything we've seen so far. So it feels like it's going to be one of those two. And if not, maybe it's Toffoli. Maybe it's a trade scenario with Zegras or Farabee, which I'm not entirely for. But again, whatever it is, and we have to just get behind it and hope that it works out. So we'll see what happens. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Would love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't. Don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel next. I'll see you in the next one.